Good day everyone, we are the third group and we are here to discuss the chapter 4. But before moving forward with the next discussion, let us have a quick recap with the previous topic. So we already learned about the decision making and planning technical activities. Note that these two things are very important in engineering management. We have to make a good decision so that we can develop and start to have a concrete plan. Planning is important as well. So technical activities such as other activities requires planning. After planning, organizing follows. For today's report, we will be discussing the chapter 4 entitled Organizing Technical Activities. In organizing technical activities, we have the reasons for organizing. Organizing defined the purpose of the structure, formal organizations, informal groups, types of organizational structures, types of authority, and the purpose of committees. So to start with, the engineer manager needs to acquire various skills in management, including those for organizing technical activities. In this highly competitive environment, the unskilled manager will not be able to bring his unit or his company to success. Also, the opportunities offered by skillful organizing are too important for the engineer manager to ignore. This chapter is intended to provide the engineer manager with some background and insights in organizing. So to start with, let us know what is organizing. So organizing is a part of management that has to do with providing a structure and relationships for people in an organization. According to Patrick Swift, these structures make it easier for people to contextualize and execute their own work. Structures help to see where they stand in the grand scheme of things and how they should relate and interact with each other.
I am Deo Oswald Durante and I will be talking about the reasons for organizing. Organizing is undertaken to facilitate the implementation of plans. In effective organizing, steps are undertaken to break down the total job into more manageable man-sized jobs. Doing this will make it possible to assign particular tasks to particular persons. So, ang main reason ng organizing ay para mabawasan ang workloads ng bawat tao. Pag meron sarili-sariling trabaho ang mga tauhan sa isang management, ay mas madali at mabilis ang proseso ng bawat trabaho kasi nakapokus lang sila dun sa isang trabahong yon. At alam nila kung ano ang gagawin nila. Organizing defined. Organizing is a management function which refers to the structuring of resources and activities to accomplish objectives in an efficient and effective manner. The arrangement or relationship of positions within an organization is called the structure. The result of the organizing process is the structure. So, dito, mas nilinaw niya ang organizing. Organizing refers to the structuring of resources and activities. So, ito, ang organizing ang pag-aayos ng structure. So, ang structure naman ay ang resulta ng pag-organizing. Dito makita ang relationship ng mga position, ng mga trabaho mo, trabaho ng mga kasama mo, at kung ano ang dapat mong gawin, at kung ano ang goal nyo. Sa pamamagitan ng organizing, mas magiging mabilis at maganda ang resulta ng iyong mga trabaho.
The purpose of structure. Siyempre, napakahalaga na alam mo kung ano yung purpose ng isang bagay na gagawin mo or kung ano ba yung benefit nito or maitutulong niya sa isang organization. So, structure, we know na this is the arrangement or relationship of positions. So, ano nga ba yung purpose nito sa isang organization? Bakit merong or bakit kailangan yung structure? So, number one, first, it defines the relationship between task and authority for individuals and departments. So, as an employee or worker, if you are given a task, what are your authority within this task? No? So, on the other hand, if you are given an authority, what is the scope of the task that will govern within this given authority? So, through structure, the individual will know the tasks and their authority. So, number two, it defines the formal reporting relationship, the number of levels in the hierarchy of the organization, and the span of control. So, yung structure, it will answer the question like where to report, kanino mag-report, like yung formal reporting relationship, or yung when to report, kailan magre-report, and whom to report, kung kanino re-report. So level of hierarchy, if you are in the lower level, of course, you should report to your yung mas mataas sa'yo, like your manager or supervisor. Yung supervisor mo, mag-report siya dun sa mas higher sa kanya. Then thirdly, it defines the groupings of individuals into departments and departments into organization. So, individual employee know what group he or she belongs. So, lastly, the purpose of the structure number 4, it defines the system to effect coordination of effort in both vertical and horizontal directions. So, yung vertical dito is yung authority and horizontal is the task. So, an activity might not be done by one department or group only. It could be performed through collaboration activity. Pwede yung per group, meron silang representative to communicate with the other group para mapag-usapan yung work, yung task para mas mapadali. Especially kung magka-relate yung kanilang mga, or merong connection yung mga task na ginagawa nila. So, let's go with the part where the engineer manager should be concerned when structuring an organization. So, first, division of labor. It is determining the scope of work and how it is combined in a job. So, engineer manager should concern with this to avoid confusion or overlapping of work. So, number 2, delegation of authority. The process of assigning various degrees of decision-making authority to subordinates. So, as an engineer, you should consider the capability kung sino yung ina-assign mo. Kung kaya ba niya, kung capable ba siya or able ba siya dun sa authority na yon na ibibigay mo. And when you assign, of course, as an manager, ikaw mismo, you have to believe na yung inassign mo is kaya niyang gawin. Pakita mo na naniniwala ka sa kanyang kakayahan to boost his or her confidence din para makatulong din sa kanya. So next, departmentation. It is the grouping of related jobs, activities, or processes into major organizational subunits. So dito, parang iniisip mo din yung mga other groups that are related with your task or job. So next is the span of control. It is the number of people who report directly to a given manager. So kailangan din i-consider ng isang engineer manager to avoid din na yung mga number of people sa isang position. So, para ma-avoid yung sobrang daming mga tao na nagtatrabaho doon. Sobrang dami. Like sa isang manager, mahirap na sobrang dami ng mga manager. So, hindi alam ng mga ibang mga nasa lower level kung kanino sila makikinig, sino yung mga susundin nila. So, yun, minsan nagiging mga problema din yun sa isang organization. And last is the coordination. The linking of activities in the organization that serves to achieve a common goal or objective. So, it might be possibility to coordinate with other departments or other groups, especially if your task is related with the other groups. No? That doesn't mean na nasa isang grupo ka, kabilang ka lang dito, di ka na makikipag-communicate sa ibang mga group na. So, still need coordination with the other groups to accomplish the task easily. So, let's go to the formal organization. Formal organization is the structure, very detailed, yung mga specific responsibilities, authority, and positions. So, the formal structure is described by management through, number 1, organizational chart. So, it is a diagram of the organization's official positions and formal lines of authority. So, number 2, the organizational manual. So it provides written descriptions of authority, relationships, details the functions of major organizational units, and describes job and procedures. So lastly, number 3, the policy manual describes personal activities and company.
Informal groups. Instances when members of an organization spontaneously form a group with friendship as a principal reason for belonging. Contrary to a formal organization, an informal organization does not depend on relationships of rank per se. Even functions of people do not define their position within organization. In informal organization, personal attitudes, prejudices, likes, and dislikes determines human relationships. Groups which are formal are informal. In other words, these are the groups that are neither formally created nor controlled by the organization. These groups are natural formations in the work environment that appear in response to the need for social contact. For example, 4 employees belonging to 4 different departments taking their lunch together represent an example of an informal group. Informal groups arise spontaneously and voluntarily to satisfy the various social needs, not likely to be fulfilled by the formal organization. The members of such groups are called informal groups. The leader of the informal groups is selected among the members of the group. Authority in such groups is given to the person and to the position. Informal groups are often useful as it is, vulnerable to expediency, manipulation, and opportunism, according to Valentine. Its low visibility makes it difficult for management to detect perversions and considerable harm can be done to the company, Valentine added. The engineer manager should be warned that they must be on the lookout for the possible difficulties that the informal groups may do to the organization. It will be to their best interest if they could make the informal groups work for the organization. What are the reasons or factors for joining an informal group? These factors or reasons are the friendship, common interest, proximity, need satisfaction, collective power, and group goals. These factors tell the people to join or form an informal organization or group. The primary function of informal organizations is basically to maintain cultural values of people. When people can associate themselves with each other socially, they always feel a sense of togetherness. Consequently, another function of informal organizations is to provide social satisfaction to members. An informal organization also provides an effective means of communication to its members. They can interact with each other freely and efficiently. Managers can use it to send across messages quickly and directly. An organizational structure is a system that outlines how certain activities are directed in order to achieve the goals of an organization. These activities can include rules, roles, and responsibilities. The organizational structure also determines how information flows between levels within the company. For example, in a centralized structure, decision flows from the top down, while in a decentralized structure, decision-making power is distributed among various levels of our organization. Before the commencement of activities, the decision makers in an organization will have to decide on what structure to adopt, depending on the size and type of operations. A certain structural type may best fit the requirements. There are 3 types of organization, which includes the functional organization, product or market organization, and the matrix organization. Functional organization, a form of departmentalization which everyone engaged in one functional activity, such as engineering or marketing, is grouped into one unit. Functional organization structures are very effective in smaller firms, especially single business firms. This is an organization in which we can define as a system in which functional departments are created to deal with the problems of business at various levels. Functional authority remains confined to functional guidance to different departments. This helps in maintaining quality and uniformity of performance of different functions throughout the enterprise. The functional organization chart shows the C-suite or the executive managers at the top, followed by the senior management, which are the vice president of different departments. These are the advantages of functional organization. Efficiency. Permit economies of scale and efficient resource use. Greater efficiency is achieved because of every function performing a limited number of functions. Effective control. Decision-making is centralized, providing a unified direction from the top. Outstanding communication and coordination. Management control is simplified as the mental functions are separated from the manual functions. Checks and balances keep the authority within certain limits. Expansion. Promotes high-quality technical problem solving. Expert knowledge of functional manager facilitates better control and supervision. Specialization. Has in-depth skilled specialization and development. Employees are provided with career progress within functional departments. Better division of labor takes place, which results in a specialization of function and its consequent benefit, which promotes high-quality technical problem solving. Has in-depth skills, specialization, and development. Employees are provided with career progress within functional departments. Next type of organizational structure, the product or market organization. This refers to the organization of a company by divisions that brings together all those involved with a certain type of product or customer. Appropriate for a large corporation with many product lines in several related industries. Product organization is formed on a basis of a particular product or service. These kinds of departments can operate autonomously. Product organization is the grouping of sales and production efforts of a business as per the line of products and services of the business. The product or market organizational chart shows a company organized product line or specific geography. The divisions represent the VP Government Accounts, VP Industrial Accounts, and the VP Residential Accounts. Each division has its own functional structure like marketing and finance. Keeping pace, flexible and responsive to change, provides a high concern for customers' needs. In a world where game-changing technologies are introduced more quickly than the most consumer can keep up with them, a product line that stays the same over time may come to seem tired and stale. A product development strategy helps the business keep pace with the changing times, appealing to customers who got bored with always seeing the same offerings. Next, the providing opportunities. Provides an outstanding coordination across the functional departments, easy pinpointing of responsibility for product problems, as emphasis on overall product and division goals. Development of general management skills is provided as well. It will have an easier time attracting and keeping talent if the company build a reputation as an operation where the creative individuals have this space to innovative. Building a strong and vital team not only puts the company in a strong position to develop and introduce more exciting new products, it also gives the personnel who can approach day-to-day challenge with fresh eyes. And these are the disadvantages of product or market organization. First is the extra cost. A product market and development can be cost, and there's a high possibility of duplication across divisions. Riskiness. If the company's product development strategy isn't successful, the company will need to absorb the investment it made without the returns to offset the expenditures, which caused by less technical depth and specialization in divisions. Lastly is the competition. The business is scrambling to come up with the next exciting product that the customers will embrace. The company's competition is also working hard to solve the same problem. It's sometimes not enough to come up with something innovative. May also need to get it to market before someone else does. Failure to do so may make all the company's hard work irrelevant. The last type of organizational structure, the matrix organization. An organizational structure in which each employee reports to both a functional or division manager and to a project or group manager. A matrix organization is a company structure where teams report to multiple leaders. The matrix design keeps open communication between teams and can help companies create more innovative products and services. Using this structure prevents teams from needing to realign every time a new project begins. As per Thompson and Strickland, is a structure with two or more channels of command, two lines of budget authority, and two sources of performance and reward. A matrix organization differs from this classic structure since team members report to both project manager and a department leader. So how do matrix organization work? Matrix organization have 2 or more management reporting structures. While this may seem confusing at first, team members typically have a primary manager for their department. Reporting to a department manager functions similarly to a traditional work structure. For example, team members working in the IT department head. IT department head reports to the vice president of their division. Eventually, all reporting relationships lead to the CEO or the C-suite or executive. The difference in a matrix structure is that team members also report to project managers. Project often require work from members of various departments like IT, marketing, and finance, which is why having a separate manager for individual projects makes sense. There are 3 types of matrix management. First, the weak matrix, the balanced matrix, and the strong matrix. First, the weak matrix. In a weak matrix, the project manager has the least amount of decision-making power compared to the other matrix management type. When the project manager has limited the authority over the project, the matrix becomes weak because the project budget and timeline is in the hands of the department head. Creating a communication plan can keep communication from getting lost in a weak matrix. Next, the balanced matrix. In a balanced matrix, the department head and the project manager have equal authority and team members report to both of them. This keeps communication open between everyone in leadership roles and allows project to move forwardly and smoothly. Lastly, the strong matrix. The project manager has most of the decision-making power over the project, while the department head has more limited authority. This creates a strong organizational structure because the project manager has full ownership over the project. The department head can oversee the project but doesn't make the key decisions. Let's move on to the advantages of matrix organization. First, the efficient use of resources. More efficient use of resources than the divisional structure. The matrix structure allows for an efficient use of resources because teams include specialists from various departments. This reduces overhead costs and the amount of time needed to complete a project. Next, clear project objectives. The matrix organization design can ensure greater clarity on project objectives. When the team reports their progress to both and project manager and the department head, solidifying the project goals is critical. When the project manager feels supported by the others of senior management, project organization becomes a priority. Next, free-flowing information. Working in a matrix structure, it creates a free flow of information between teams because the team reports to multiple leaders. While team members must remember to relay information in a hierarchical system, the matrix makes information flow a requirement. Reporting information to multiple leaders may seem tedious, but with the right project management system in place, it requires little or no extra work from the team members. Lastly, the team retention. The matrix organization has a great track record from team member retention because when specialists are placed together, the product team stays strong. These team members work under functional department heads and they are then assigned to project managers. Specialists often enjoy working together and it can improve project performance. Now, the disadvantages of matrix organization. Complex reporting. The complexity of the matrix organization can be a disadvantage because teams may have the trouble knowing who to report to and when. While the intention of the matrix is to benefit teams, it may complicate projects and muddy the overall process. Next, slow response time. The complexity of the matrix can lead to slow response time, which can delay the projects. Slow response time can come from the need to report information to multiple people. Having more people involved is a good thing, but the downside is that relaying information to more people takes time. Last, the conflicting guidance. Conflicting guidance occurs if the project manager and department head are not on the same page. While the matrix structure is meant to encourage teamwork, it may do the opposite depending on the personalities involved. There is a need for relations training for key employees and manager.
So now let's move on with the types of authority. But before moving forward, let us know what authority means. So authority is the right to make decisions, to direct the others, and to give orders and expect the orders to be obeyed. It is very much important to have authority in an organization to progressively achieve and obtain its goal. So here are the three types of authority. We have the line authority, staff authority, and functional authority. So first, we have the line authority. Line authority, manager to direct the work of an employee. It is considered as the employer-employee authority relationship that extends from top to bottom. So a very good example of a line authority are production manager, engineer manager, and sales manager. So note that line departments perform tasks that reflect the organization's primary goal and mission. Next is the staff authority. So staff authority has the right to direct or command subordinates who work under them but with respect. They also play an advisory role in recommending and assisting their superior. So, in other words, staff authority has the right to advise but doesn't have the right to command. Note that staff departments include those that provide specialized skills in support of line departments. And lastly, we have the functional authority. So, functional authority has the authority to monitor the lower level personnel that has particular specializations and skills, regardless of where or what organization they belong to. First, we have the personnel staff. Those individuals assigned to a specific manager to provide needed staff services. And the second one is the specialized staff. Specialized staff are those individuals providing needed staff services for the whole organization. So now let's move on with the typical structure of a line and staff organization. As seen on the organizational chart that is being presented on your screen, we can notice that there are different positions or different directors per department, and under them they have their own subordinates. And this is the typical line and staff organization. And now let's move on with the purpose of committees. So what is a committee? Committee is a formal group of persons formed for a specific purpose. Committees can be classified into two. The first one is the ad hoc committee, and the second one is the standing committee. So for the ad hoc committee are one created for a short-term purpose and have a limited life. So a very good example of this short-term committee are an election committee, a festival committee, a sports committee, and so on. And for the standing committee, it is a relatively permanent committee that deals with ongoing issues. And also an example is the grievance committee set up to handle initially complaints from employees of the organizations. So to sum up everything that has been discussed on chapter 4, which is the organizing technical activities, we have tackled the proper management of engineering activities requires effective organizing. Organizing refers to the structuring of resources and activities to accomplish objectives. Formal organization is the structure that will carry out the plan. And we also have the organizational charts, the manuals, and handbooks. So informal groups, a group with friendship as a principal reason for belonging. And we also have 3 classifications of organizations, which are the functional organization, product or market organization, and the matrix organization. And also, there are 3 classifications of authority, namely the line authority, staff authority, and functional authority. Also, committees are formed to perform a specific task. Committees are classified into two, which are the ad hoc committee and the standing committee.